Hello, I'm Matujam and you're watching Hornbill TV's Prime at 9. The Naga Students Federation has demanded from the government of Nagaland reduction of the marks for the Viva votes in the recently conducted Nagaland Staff Selection Board examinations. This was one of three demands the NSF made in its letter to the Chief Secretary of Nagaland. A copy of the NSF's letter that was received here asked the government to comply and enforce it within 10 days. The NSF demanded that the 12.5% marks allotted in the Viva votes as advertised by reduced to 5% in all categories. Further, the Federation asked the CCTV cameras be installed in the interview room to effectively monitor the interview process and for pursuit. The NSF also demanded that representatives from the NSF be invited to the interview process as observers. The Federation is optimistic that the governments will comply with the demands and enforce it within 10 days from the date of this letter. The NSF added that it was in the interest of the youth and students community. The Kohima Press Club observed National Press Day in Kohima with the theme The Media's Role in Nation Building today on November 16 with Rupin Sharma, Director General of Police, Prisons, Home Guards, Civil Defence and STRF as the special guest of the event. Speaking at the program, Rupin Sharma said that media in Nagaland is doing a good job, but there is a lack of investigative journalism in the state. He said there is a need for better investigative journalism and getting into the root of factual reports. Sharma encouraged the journalists to put efforts into investigative journalism in Nagaland. During the program, the Kohima Press Club Impact Journalism Award 2022 was also given during the event. They also gave away fellowship certificates and grant money to 3 media persons.
NGOC to be part of this 56th Press Day and occasioning this moment also to be honoring our fellow journalists. We have traveled together the road rather than us NGOC WWB. I think the media fraternity has taken a step further in highlighting the issues, the kind of thematic studies, the kind of investigative works you have put up, especially in the front pages. You have done a tremendous thing in improving not only just the dignity of our fellow construction workers. India as a welfare state, there are pockets where the board stands to do its little bit, including migrant workers. So I'm very pleased, and on behalf of our board, we would like to continue this partnership also. We will have a board meeting again, and I'm sure not only in fostering the improvement of our people, construction, building, as I mentioned earlier, it will continue till there is an Armageddon and we stop.
Whatever information had to be conveyed was either one way from the rulers or the kings to the masses, or it was more for self-preservation, or some messages like someone is being punished for doing an offense or something, so you need everybody to know. That was the thing. Besides this, there was the old system which we all can recollect. It was like started with all these log drums and drums, then hailers, messengers going around in the villages or towns. For a faster communication, you had horsemen, people on horsebacks who would convey the message. Then you have pigeons. Now we don't see any of this. Okay, now we get the newspaper. One person will print, say, 1,000 pages, send it out across.
The Department of Health and Family Welfare has declared the ongoing agitation of a group of nurses as illegal. The government of Nagaland had said that it had several rounds of meetings with aggrieved staff nurses representatives where the government reiterated the cabinet decision and their appointment terms and conditions. The government had requested them to call off the agitation and update from the DIPR stated on November 16. However, despite the appeals to call off the agitation, the staff nurses decided to go for complete cease work, even in the ICU and emergency services, severely jeopardizing the health of the patients in government hospitals. In this regard, the government has issued an order declaring the ongoing agitation illegal in terms of Section 3, Clause 1 of the Nagaland Essential Services Maintenance Act 1978. A similar but separate update from the IPR stated that any resort to illegal means of agitation shall be viewed seriously, and besides deduction of salary on the principle of no work, no pay, participants shall also be liable to disciplinary action for a grave violation of conduct rules. The update stated further that notwithstanding anything contained in the CRPC 1973, any police officer may arrest without warrant any nurses employed, deployed or engaged in any government-held unit or facility which is reasonably suspected of having committed the illegal act of ceasing work, going on strike under Section 8 of the Nagaland Essential Services Maintenance Act 1978. Janjatiya Gaurav Divas 2022, a cultural program, was held today, November 16, in Kohima, with Minister for Tribal Affairs and Higher Education, Temjin Imna Along, as a special guest of the event. Imna Along spoke about the importance of observing the Janjatiya Gaurav Divas, or Tribal Honor Day. Mentioning the importance of preserving culture, he said observing Cultural Honor Day is a part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. He urged people to continue preserving their culture and traditions and to protect their identity. Different tribal communities gave cultural performances to mark the event.
Sema kemongan ne alak-alak dance kuribu nidigina tahan sobke ekta program nisna kuribu dibi, so that they will see how similar we are. How similar we are. We are very similar. Amagan definition is not by what we wear or how we dress. Our definition is the essence of being a tribal, essence of being people who have lived in this most remote place of India. Today we are recognized. Ajido mugan ke recognize kore. Aro ajido amagan tribal hua laga ekta pride commemorate kore. Ito karone moi kotha itu di khotom koribo noile program to lamba hoi jabo. Apuni kan sobke Janjatiya Gaurav Divas laga itu salam janai dia ase aro HOD sino pombra logina department la kiman officials ase apuni kan sobke itu din bhal bada organize kora karone khushi janai digena moi laga kotha itu di khatam hobode koknalin aro jai hind.
The homecoming ceremony for 31 cadres of different militant groups was held today in Manipur, with Chief Minister Biren Singh as chief guest. The 31 surrendered cadres included 17 from KCP, PWG, 4 from UNLF, 6 from PREPAK, 3 from KYKL and 1 from PREPAKVC. The surrendered cadres laid down arms before the Chief Minister, who welcomed the 31 cadres and expressed words of appreciation on their coming back to the mainstream. Stating that the government is open for all forms of talk to bring back cadres of all UG groups to the mainstream, he reiterated the statement of Union Home Minister that not a single bullet would be fired on those militants who want to return to normal lives and join the national mainstream, and no FIR would be lodged against them unless they are involved in a heinous crime.
Offices specific over 1958 Manipur root cause ignorant, without trying to find out the root cause of the insurgency, without seeing the ground realities. Hekta arni khazal lagi yani ada kaum ki natural guna unrest samar ki society se am saw mein pege last 20-30 years se koi light lete bolo we unshi is ki battle se kai no samre lete bolo nimita avda pumara ka avda pe apar ko ko lambi se na daba dukan thong na ba among mo na ito adubo honorable prime minister and ministry la kana dynamic with home minister Amit Shahji.
A scuffle broke out between workers of the All India Democratic Women Association and police officials in Tripura as the police tried to prevent the agitating activists from staging a protest in front of the police headquarters. The members of the left-affiliated women's organization gathered to demonstrate against the alleged rise in crime against women in the state. Amid heavy security arrangements put in place, the rally of the AIDWA reached in front of the police headquarters. When the police failed to convince the AIDWA workers to clear the area, a scuffle broke out.
নারী নির্যাতন বাড়ছে কেন? পুলিশ প্রশাসন জবাব চাই, জবাব দেন। দিচ্ছে না, সারা ভারত গণতান্ত্রিক ন্যায় সমিতি দিচ্ছে না।
The activists claim that male police officials were pressed into action even as an adequate number of female police personnel were engaged. Speaking on the issue, AIDWA leader Panchali Patacharji said that they held a peaceful rally and none of the workers tried to break the law. But the police officials showed high-handedness and a number of female workers suffered injuries during the scuffle. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has expressed grief at the deaths of workers following a stone quarry in Mizoram collapsing. The Prime Minister has announced an ex gratia of Rs 2 lakh from the PMNRF to the next of kin of each of the deceased. The injured persons are to be given Rs 50,000 each, update stated. West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee on Wednesday said she was depressed after knowing about the stone quarry deaths of workers at Maudar village in Mizoram's Nyantial district on Monday. She also assured to provide jobs and compensation to the next of the kin of the deceased, Mamata Banerjee said. Indonesia on Wednesday handed over the G20 presidency to India for the coming year as the Bali summit of the grouping ended here with the member states finalizing the joint declaration. Indonesian President Joko Widodo handed over the G20 presidency to Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who said taking over the presidency of the grouping is a matter of pride for every citizen in India. Together with every country's efforts, we can make the G20 summit a catalyst for global welfare. Modi said the handing over ceremony comes at the conclusion of the two-day G20 summit, which ended with the member states finalizing the joint declaration. Foreign Secretary Vinay Quatra said that India has contributed constructively to drafting of G20 outcome document. Besides this, PM Modi held several bilateral sessions with key nations including Germany, Italy, Indonesia, Australia and UK. On day one of the summit, he highlighted India's stand on food, supply chain, energy security and digital transformation. Prime Minister Modi also addressed an Indian diaspora event in Bali and said that there is a lot of difference in pre-2014 and post-2014 India. Later on day one, PM Modi attended an official dinner hosted by the Indonesian President, during which he met Chinese President Xi Jinping. PM Modi greeted the Chinese President and held a brief interaction with him. Residents of Israel continue to live in fear and defense forces concerned as rocket attacks by Hamas and terror outfits Hezbollah from Gaza and Lebanon continue to strike across the country. According to estimate, there are 30,000 rockets in Gaza with Hamas and more than 130,000 in Lebanon with Hezbollah, which Israel claims enjoys the backing of Iran. There is a fear that in case of all-out war with Israel, both Hamas and Hezbollah can sustain 4,000 rocket attacks a day, and Israel is not equipped to handle such combined attacks. Former international spokesperson of IDF, Yonatan Koniko, said rockets are a significant threat to the state of Israel. Today is not just about southern part. Majority of the Jewish population is under rocket threat from Gaza.
Israel today possesses the only fully operational and tremendously effective countermeasure against rockets and many airborne threats, the Iron Dome, which was developed jointly, Israel and the US, congressional funding, Israeli defense industry, US defense industry, it's Raytheon and Rafael, and other components from other companies as well. And at the end of the day, after a very short 2.5 years of development that started in 2006, the system became operational, and basically since 2010 it has been perfecting the algorithms and expanding the capabilities that it has and the types of projectiles and threats that it can deal with. It started out capable of dealing only with short-range rockets. Today it can deal with short, medium and long-range rockets. It can deal with mortars. It can deal with UAVs, drones, and it can deal with planes as well as missiles, ballistic missiles. All of these things are now within the proven, combat-proven, real-world proven capabilities of the Iron Dome, and I cannot exaggerate how important that system is to the defense of Israeli civilians. The success rate of the Iron Dome, the overall success rate, is above 90%, 90, which is phenomenal. And the biggest shortcoming of the Israeli defenses are an issue of quantity. 130,000 from the north, 30,000 from the south. When you put that together and you do the calculations, you understand that you need a lot of interceptors and a lot of batteries, Iron Dome batteries. And without going into classified information, I can say that we don't have.
The 2-day 75th anniversary celebration of Phereng township concluded today in Phereng town with Nagaland Chief Minister Tripura as the chief guest.
And my king of
Speaking at the occasion, Tripura said that the Ziliang people are a peaceful tribe, stating that to promote something there should be unity and coexistence. We urge citizens to introspect and retrospect its achievements and shortcomings during the past 75 years and ask them to move forward, taking up new challenges. CM Rio also suggested that every household plant orchids and to organize an orchid festival every year in Phereng town to attract tourists. The chief host of the event, former Chief Minister and President United Democratic Democratic Alliance of Nagaland Chairman T.R. Ziliang said Phereng town is the most peaceful town in Nagaland. He urged everyone to continue to work towards making the town an exemplary town in the discipline of cleanliness and peace.
6. J.H. Hutton, in his 2 diary notes, remarks, Birema applied for a school. I have no money available, so I suppose they will have to wait till another year, by which time they will no longer want it. The establishment of this present township is correlated with education.
Unveiled by the Governor of Nagaland, O.P. Sharma. We celebrated the Golden Jubilee here in this same place, and we meet again today to celebrate this auspicious Platinum Jubilee. It is unfortunate to see that we no longer have many prominent faces.
Nagamis para kobole molaje, bosti manukami sob ahise, itunimide sob bujibole. Abnagan, amige 75th anniversary of Phereng town established kura Platinum Jubilee de Matia Dimde. सबके खुशी जुनाई आसे आरो हमें आई के ना तुम जो बाम ये तो मनोलेट कोली दिशे ईश्वर के धन्यवाद दिया से जो प्रोग्राम रखा निशना लो जाने.
That's all we have for now. Keep watching Hornbill TV.